I think one of the most powerful things a woman can build is a relationship with herself. And a big part of that relationship is trust. Trusting that when life gets complicated, when people pressure you, when something looks good on the outside, but it feels wrong on the inside, you will listen to yourself. You will protect what matters to you. You will stand with your principles. Because at the end of the day, the person you have to live with forever is yourself. Welcome to another episode of the Woman's Talk Show. I wanted to talk about this topic today because I think that everything that we have talked about in the previous episodes in this series connects to this. When you travel alone, episode number 1, you learn to trust yourself. When you make difficult decisions, episode number 2, you learn to listen to yourself. When you pursue your dreams, episode number 3, you learn to believe in yourself. When you leave situations that no longer aligns with you, you learn to choose yourself. Episode number 4. And behind all of that is something deeper. Your principles. And I want to say something because I think sometimes people really misunderstand what principles really is or what standing with your principles actually means. It doesn't mean you're always right. It doesn't mean you are an egocentric, stubborn person, self-centered, that can never be wrong. It doesn't mean you cannot change. It doesn't mean that you become someone close-minded or unwilling to listen. Actually, growth requires a lot of humility. Standing with your principles means knowing what values are important to you and making decisions that allow you to respect yourself. Before moving forward, I'm here with my Sweet Gratitude body cream, which is the sponsor of this video. And I don't want to tell you a lot of the story behind this product because the creator herself will be joining us in our last episode of this series, or at least these 10 episodes. We never know if maybe I continue with this. But something I really recommend is to try this luxurious body cream created with organic ingredients that will moisturize and nurture your skin, making it look very soft and giving you the best self-care that you deserve to be that woman with principles who knows where she stands. Click on the link in the description down below and get yours. Okay, so what are principles? I think a lot of people confuses principles with preferences. A preference is something that you like, and a principle is something that defines who you want to move through your life. For example, a preference is, okay, I like when people communicate quickly. I like to have a relationship with someone who answers quickly. That's something that I need, that I like. But a principle is, for example, I need honesty and respect in my relationships. A preference is, I would like things to be easy, to be more comfortable, to be easygoing. And a principle is, I want to live a life that feels authentic. Your values and your principles will create that woman that you will become through your choices. Because your identity is not only created in these big moments that everyone sees. It's created by the small decisions that nobody sees. For example, keeping your word. Saying no when something feels wrong. I shared with you this story in one of my previous episodes, in the traveling one, the number 1, where me and my friend, we are almost driven by someone to another town, and I felt that something was wrong with it, and we get out of the car and we said no. We felt that something was wrong. So saying no, it was a non-negotiable in that moment. Walking away from something that doesn't honor you, when you feel disrespected, when you feel that your voice doesn't matter or that you don't even have a voice, when you feel that your opinions are not taken into consideration, admitting when you make a mistake as well, because also being humble makes you, having values is not always having our favor in things or not just choosing everything that benefits us. Sometimes we make mistakes, we can apologize, we can change, we can outgrow from situations, we can change ideas and realize that there is a better point of view of different situations, for example, and choosing honesty over convenience. Every time you choose your values, you are voting for the woman that you are becoming. Why is so hard for women to stand with their principles? We have this sentence in Spanish that is very annoying, very machista, I would say, that I'm pretty sure that many of women of all generations have listened. And it says, calladita te ves más bonita, which means you look prettier when you're quiet. So we have been taught to be nice, to be a good girl, to don't disappoint people, don't create conflict, keep the peace, and be understanding. But what if keeping the peace means abandoning yourself? There is a very big difference between being a loving woman and being a woman who accepts to constantly sacrifice herself in order to be accepted. Sometimes we make the opinions of others more important than what we actually feel that is right for us. What our family will say, what the people that from our jobs will say, from the neighbors and everything, what will they say? And for that fear of judgment, many times we choose to please others rather than us. Let me tell you something, but in order for you to stand with your principles, you need to practice a lot of bravery. And for that, we need to talk deeply about the fear of losing people. As human beings, we are social beings. We need to relate to others. We need relationships. We need to connect with others. And many times we get very attached to our different bonds that we have with others. In general, we like to be liked by others. In my case, being a traveler has taught me a lot to be a little bit more detached with relationships in general. I don't call a friend just to any people. I'm cautious as well with who I relate to. And not because I don't trust people or because I struggle with trusting others, but just for playing the card of discernment in general. I have been someone in the course of my life that has been defining her values and her choices and her opinions in many different ways. And because I'm also someone that verbalizes what she thinks, her opinions, it's not random that I'm here making a podcast and just talking about different things of my own experiences. I'm sharing my testimony. I'm not a psychologist talking about science. I'm just talking about something that I have, which is experience in certain things. But I lost a lot of people in my journey, and I kind of learned to get comfortable with it. Not that I like it, not that it's an easy situation, or that I never get hurt about it, or that I don't grieve those losses. But since I'm very little, since I was at school, I was the one raising up my hands, sharing my opinion, debating as well, defending what justice looked to me in that moment, and raising my voice for the things that I always thought it was unfair, or, in general, I have always had this motivation to use my voice, in even sometimes for those who cannot use their own. But I had to learn that every time I would stand with my truth and my principles, I would have people disagreeing with me. And sometimes those ones are the closer ones, the loved ones. And I want to share this example that I'm going through right now, since I've been expressing out loud my conversion and giving my life to Jesus Christ. And I share with you all in this channel my testimony in English, but lately I've been also doing it in Spanish, in my mother tongue, more in my socials, in my Instagram. If you're not following me, you can do it right now at Cabrera Music. And I know a part of me, deep down, knew that it was easier for me to share in English because in Spanish I had my closer community. I'm not only sharing that now I follow Jesus Christ, but I'm also feeling the need or the call to bring out to the light the lies of the devil, where I was cheating on with the spiritual practices I was participating, and that I had lots of friends and people that I genuinely love that are there still. Some of them I call friends, but at the same time, because I know that I was participating in a lie, I even have the strongest feeling that I need to speak about it, because if I don't speak that truth, I am betraying those ones that I love. And even though I'm not like literally behind them, one after one telling them, hey, this is that you're doing and that we were doing is wrong, is demonized, etc., etc. I'm just speaking out loud for those who want to see. Some are resonating, some are not. Some are disagreeing with me. Some of them are leaving. Some of them think that now I change and because I was part of it and now I think different and I'm disrespecting their own beliefs. Who do you think I am that now I'm demonizing all of these activities? And many of them don't understand my choices. I'm literally going through that. I had some friendships that they literally told me, you know what, I wish you well, bye. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not enjoyable at all. But that is part of standing in my truth, standing with my principles and my values. Probably they're not able to see what I can see, what has been shown to me. And I'm not saying that I carry the truth. I'm just speaking the truth of Jesus Christ, which is not my truth. It's his truth, and that's what I share it. But at the same time, I have this fever of bringing out the lights of the devil so much, especially in Spanish. That's what I'm doing, even though I'm losing a lot. But I know eventually it will compensate somehow. I don't know. Right now, I don't know anything. But at some point, I keep standing firm on that. And I have some certainty within me that what I'm doing is the right thing to do. And I also, at the same time, let me share with you this example. As I was telling you, you know what, some of my friendships, they just told me, you know what, I wish you well, but you and I, we're no longer friends. And unfollowed or unsubscribed from friendships. But on the other hand, I also had people that I was able to have uncomfortable conversations, which I think a lot of people we are now like very lazy to have very needed conversations with our loved ones. And that is something very nice. I had other friendships that I was able to have these conversations when we can disagree. When they were able to tell me, you know what, this that you're saying does not resonate me at all. But I'm not gonna allow to lose you as a person or to lose our relationship just because we think different. And I respect your choices and I respect you. And that really shows me that the right people may not always understand every decision that you make, but they will respect the person that you are becoming. The wrong people will just say bye. Another very important example that I want to bring up to this episode is not just maybe like the fear of losing people, but also the fear of being misunderstood. I think one of the harder tests of standing with your principles is when people misunderstand you. Because it's very easy to stand with your principles when everyone is applauding you. But what happened when people judge you? What happened when people create a version of your story that is not yours? My last episode was highly twisted by those who crave gossip and drama. The conversation was about my own experiences, my own lessons, and my own journey. I was very intentional and careful, speaking from my perspective and not attacking anyone. But some people choose to interpret differently. Some people created a story that I was trying to hurt someone, that I was speaking about someone specifically, or that my intention was negative. And of course, that creates a reaction in me. Of course, I had to control my temptations to maybe go answer quickly or to over-explain myself or to feel like I have to defend myself. But then I realized something. I cannot build my life around trying to convince everyone who chooses to misunderstand me. Because the truth is, when you share something vulnerable, you cannot control what everyone does with your words. Some people will listen with empathy, and some people will listen looking for something to criticize. And I have to choose which one has more power to me. And you know why I'm here today actually speaking about this topic, which I feel extremely passionate about. At the same time that some people were creating a completely different narrative of my message from my last episode, I received a message from the woman I mentioned who reached out to me previously for advice, who was going through a very hard situation, who was living in an abusive relationship that was hurting her and her daughter. And she shared with me that she finally had the courage to walk away from that situation, to move somewhere different and to start over again with her daughter in a safer place, in a safer environment. She told me, "Thank you for your words. You gave me the courage to do it. I was very afraid. I was thinking a lot about what everyone around me would say, but I decided to choose myself. Thank you, because sharing your testimony actually helped me." And just that actually reminded me why I do this and why I'm standing here today again with a new episode, and I will continue with more. Because if one person finds the courage to choose herself, to create a safer life, and to believe that she deserves better, because she does, that means more to me. Only one story, only one testimony like that, only one person feeling inspired from the words I say and from the stories that I share here, that means more to me, way more to me, than hundreds of others misunderstanding my intentions. So that when I actually realize what it is standing with your principles and standing with my principles meant for me to remember why I started all of this. And when you start choosing yourself, the person or the people who benefited from the old version of you, they might not understand it. But your responsibility and my responsibility, because every time I'm doing all of these episodes and I'm speaking to you, I'm also speaking to me. I'm also reminding myself all of these messages. Because even though if I lived and if I went through and if I have the experience, I still need to remind myself those messages. My responsibility is not to remain small so other people feel comfortable. And your responsibility is not to remain small so you make other people feel comfortable. Our responsibility here, our responsibility, yours and mine, is to stay connected to our truth. The deeper lesson for me in all of that was literally like, will I abandon my voice because people twist it? Or I will continue because I know my intentions? I think it's very important to know what are my principles, what are my values, what are my non-negotiables. Because we can just speak about values, but we don't have very clear what is that truth that we need to stand firm within us. Is it loyalty? Is it respect? Is it humility? Is it coherence? Is it kindness? And you need to know what your principles are, because your principles will be tested. And they will be tested in probably very important things for you, because of course that's where values come in, and that's why they are so important actually. In love, for example, the last episode about stepping out of relationships was the most voted topic, because Human beings, we crave for relationships. It's our most interested topic. We all love to hear about relationships. And of course, I will continue talking about relationships in different experiences because I love love. I love connections. And I love navigating that topic. Women, we love to talk about relationships, not only men in general, but not just men, human beings in general, because we need it. We are social beings. We need each other. So your principles will be tested in love, for example. I love this person, but this relationship requires me to become someone I'm not. How many out there have felt that way sometimes? When they want you to be someone that you're not. When they cannot accept who you truly are by nature. And they want you to change in ways that cannot really fit with who you are. It doesn't mean, I'm not saying about changing when you really have flaws that you need to become better. Changing for better is always good. It's always good to have someone that pushes you to be a better version of yourself. But I mean, when someone wants you to be different in just to benefit them more. Your values will be tested in your career. This opportunity is good, but it doesn't align to who I am. Especially in the music industry, I have always tried my best to stand firm in my conviction and my values. There's a lot of genres that are very mainstream, can go viral easily. They go absolutely against the kind of musician I want to be. So for that, it was always important to understand who I am in order to compromise myself to get some kind of benefit. Friendships, for example. I care a lot about this person, but the dynamic is hurting me. How many friends we have had in our life that maybe if we are not the one sending a message, hey, how are you doing? Do you want to meet for a coffee? Let's do something. Let's plan something. If you're not the one initiating, you never get a message from them until maybe at some point you realize that, okay, this is not working. Your values will be tested with yourself. Yourself as the main character. How many times you say, I want my life to be different, but your actions don't match? How many times you say, I want to look better, but you refuse to do sports or activity or any kind of activity? How many times you have said, I want to read this book, and you keep scrolling on your TikTok? How many times you have said, I want to buy my first car, but you keep misusing your money and spending in things that you don't really need? And sometimes when you choose yourself, it feels very lonely at the beginning. Sometimes doing what is right for you will find you alone. But there is a very different kind of loneliness. The loneliness of abandoning yourself. To feel surrounded by people, but knowing that you're betraying yourself. In my personal reflection, I had to learn the things in life that had taught me that I cannot compromise on. My authenticity, the freedom, creativity, the respect, the honesty, growth. So that's why I want to bring back the importance of knowing your values. So you can ask questions like, what do I refuse to betray about myself? What situations make me feel I am becoming smaller? And what values I want my future self to thank me for protecting? So how to build trust with yourself? Listen to your intuition. Your body often knows before your mind accepts. You know. You have that feeling, you have that something. Your mind will talk, will whisper, will say, will make noise. You will doubt, you will question. And yeah, it's okay to give it time to the mind to actually settle. But by that time, your body already gave you the whole information that you need. Keep promises to yourself. Self-trust is built through action. Promise yourself, don't say, okay, next Monday I will start the gym. Make promises to yourself. Short term, long term. Give yourself 6 months to do something. Give yourself this month. Give yourself a year. You can choose whatever of your preference, but make yourself small promises that you cannot break. Because one thing is allowing others to break your values, but yourself breaking your own values, going against your own values, you don't want to be that type of person. Stop waiting for everyone to approve. Your life is yours. And accept that every choice has a consequence. Either we like it or not, just try to choose the consequence that you can live with. Becoming a woman that can trust herself, I think is one of the most beautiful things. Someone who knows, you know what, I can make mistakes, I can change, I can grow. I'm not stagnant and this is who I am and I don't care. There's always space for something better. And I can do all of these things, but I will not abandon myself. Because the relationship that you have with yourself is the one that you will carry everywhere. And when you stand with your principles, you're not just making decisions. You are building a life that feels like home. I hope you enjoyed this episode and I will see you on the next one. Bye.